Hello, my name is Herlinda Morales, and this is my individualized portfolio for my sociology major. I have taken several classes, but there's certain ones that really stood out, and I feel that they are they made a really big impact in what I plan to do in my future. So, without further ado, I want to start with the first slide. And the first course that really stood out to me was deviance. It was taught by Dr. Ashraf Ismail. I can't really pronounce it, but he was good. The class was really interesting. And one of the assignments that I really enjoyed was we had to do a deviant act. We had to perform a deviant act. And what I selected was I wanted to feed a bear in a restaurant, a stuffed bear, and see how people would react to that. Now, some people may think, well, that's not really a deviant act, but I feel like if it's out of the social norm, then it's a deviant act. So, what I did was I had to prepare for this particular project. So, I took my bear to work. That was number one. And luckily, I work in the social science department at a college, so they didn't see anything out of the norm, but I had explained to them why I had the bear at work. So I did that. And at lunchtime, I decided I'm going to take my bear to Burger King. So I went to Burger King and I asked the young man for a crown for my bear. And the first thing he did was kind of chuckle a little bit, didn't, really think about it. He probably thought I had a child with me, but I didn't. So it got a little bit more interesting as I purchased the Happy Meal and explained to him that I was going to, give it to my bear because it was his birthday and he really needed to celebrate. Um, I'll never forget his face. He looked at me kind of odd. Then I took it over to the seat, and now they're in the area. There were three different sets of customers. There was a man, there was a family, and then there was another. I can't remember if it was a gentleman. Right? Anyway, she the man got up and left. He when I started feeding the bear the hamburger and I started feeding the um, French fries. He looked at me kind of odd, and I was talking to the bear, and the little girl got up from her seat and she was sitting on the bench part. She turned around, she looked at me, and she says, Mama, she's feeding the bear. So, in that, I kind of chuckled a little bit, but the reactions that I received just by being deviant, it does make a difference as to how you apply what you learn. In this particular assignment, I'm going to say that I was really excited about the way um, it turned out. And I actually made a fairly good grade on that assignment. Okay, so the next class I took that really made an impact was sociological theory. Now, in this class, we did do a lot of work. We had discussions, we had weekly memos, essays, internet exercises, but I learned so much about the different sociologists, like Emile Durkheim and Karl Marx and W.B. Du Bois, and a more recent sociologist that I didn't even know even existed was Anthony Giddens. And the terms that I learned were, stratification, globalization, and the juggernaut of modernity, which is what Anthony Giddens came out with. So there was a lot of work in this class, but I appreciated Dr. Alyssa King for giving us all that assignment because it stuck. It really did impact me in ways that I don't think that I would ever have learned it as well because she taught like if we were in a classroom, and that really made a difference. The next class I took was family violence, and again, that was with the same instructor, Dr. Ashraf Ismail. He made such an impact on me with deviance that I figured I'd take family violence with him. And in this course, there were a few things. I had to write a paper, and I really didn't understand that there was sibling abuse and elder. Well, I knew there was elder abuse, but I didn't. I was not aware that sibling abuse was one of those prevalent abuses that happen in domestic violence. So I wrote a particular paper on biracial family violence and a look at the cultural differences. That was so interesting. I would recommend this class for any family, anybody who wants to learn about family violence. The one thing that I didn't understand was there was no particular trigger to promote the family violence or to start family violence, and uh, I really thought that there was something that would indicate that, and um, the class taught me that no, that's not the way it works. A current class that I'm taking right now is Society and Environment. My favorite part of this class is Dr. Gilbert Elbaz. He is so dynamic with his thought-provoking questions for discussions. The favorite part for me was the consumption and materialism part. Um, Thorstein Veblen talked about the leisure class and how he came up with conspicuous consumption, conspicuous waste, and conspicuous leisure. Um, these were things that never really uh, were prevalent during his time, but he was a pioneer in that area. So, out of all the class, I feel that that was part of the course that really stands out to me. And I had to write a paper about a local environmental issue that has impacted us in our local society. So I really liked this class. It was really good. Collective behavior and social movements. In a time when we see every social movement available, it couldn't have been a better time to take this class. I had Black Lives Matter. We have the women's movement. We have the hashtag Me Too movement that is going on right now. Collective behavior was a good course to take. And again, one of the assignments that I had to do here was I had to write a paper about civil rights movement. Well, the civil rights movement that I was not aware of was the Mexican American Chicano movement that happened during the 60s and 70s because they were trying to fight for fair wages. And the fair wages really uh, should have gone further. I believe the Mexican American community would have benefited more had they decided to how can I say push a little bit more for the rights of the Mexican American people. So that was one of my favorite classes as well. Criminology, this is an excellent course if you're planning to take criminal justice. Um, I decided to write on a paper about Richard Ramirez. Now, Richard Ramirez was the Night Stalker who at one point was a serial killer in California. But what you don't know is that he also attended classes with my brother while he was at Jefferson High School in El Paso, Texas. My brother gave me a synopsis of of how he was in class, and he would say that he would sit in the back of the class disrupting everything. Talk back to the teacher. He just was not a model student to begin with. So he attended class for a little bit, and I guess he left. That's when my brother said after that they kind of lost touch. But he was an unusual student at that time. But this course was excellent. Criminology. The pop culture, mass media, and society class. That was taught by really interesting professor, Dr. Gill, Dr. Brenda Gill. She had some really good insights on things. I had to come up with a survey about social phenomena, and for me, I'm a Star Wars fan. I decided to write about Star Wars, and the questions I posed to different age groups really showed me the pros and cons of uh, giving a survey. It was just the initial questions, have you ever watched a Star Wars movie? When was the first time you experienced Star Wars? Very good assignment. I like that. And of course, I had to write a little paper on Doctor Strange because, after all, he is part of the Marvel comic uh, issues, I guess. I like Marvel anyway. But anyway, I wrote a paper on that, and it was a really good course. We had different aspects of popular culture that impact us daily, and I really didn't think it was going to be a viable course. I thought, well, I don't know about this. How's this going to really impact society? And but it does. It really does make a difference. So that was a good course. And finally, it's the inquiry of social scientific research. This course is the granddaddy of them all. um, the instructor, awesome instructor, she assigned us this book called Bad Blood, the Tuskegee Syphilis Experiment, which I really recommend anybody to read that before you even think about conducting research. It's what not to do. These poor men, you have to read the book. It is just absolutely tear jerking, awesome example of what not to do. So I had to write a paper about what I thought would be insightful, and I thought about internet dating. Internet dating right now is prevalent, and so to come up with those questions to make sure that you got the correct survey. The only thing that I didn't really like about the class, we had to do the survey within the class, taking it within our classmates. Well, if you have a lot of classmates that are married, your survey is not going to really be impactful, or your story. So I did put that in my research, that we were limited in the amount of people that we could survey regarding this particular program, or research project. But overall, I really enjoyed the class. And saying that, I mean, I'm going to graduate in March 2018, and I'm really excited about it. But all of these courses made a special impact in my seeking of this degree, and I hope that you have experienced the same thing with your courses. And I wish you luck. And again, thank you for taking the time to watch my portfolio. And thank you.